I mostly finished this router table in my last video, but there's lots more things to talk about. In this video, why not just use a shop vac? I still haven't done the electrical wiring on this thing, but let's plug it in. And this reads power, so we're reading about 84 watts, and I'm not raising my voice. And now let's try sucking the air out with a shop vac. Close this hole and close this outlet here, and we'll turn it on. And we're drawing about 900 watts. And let's measure the airflow. So with it open this far, we're getting 1.5 meters per second of airspeed. That's it. And now unplug this and back to the blower. And same opening. We have 3.8 meters per second of airspeed, so we have more than twice the airflow. But of course right now there isn't a whole lot of air resistance, so let's close this. And you can hear the air kind of whistling a bit. And we'll measure the vacuum inside with this tube. We have just 4 centimeters because the box is a little bit leaky. Plug up again. Shop vac on, and we have 3.5 centimeters of head, so less than we had before, because there's enough leakage everywhere that even though this can suck 10 times harder than my blower, it's not having any effect because there's not enough air resistance. Oh, and in terms of sound levels, this is how loud I was talking before. Can you still hear me? Of course, this blower, which by the way uses a bread maker motor, I'm not saying it's better than a shop vac, but for this specific application, it works much better than a shop vac would. For other applications, like sucking dust through the dust hood on a panther rotor, a shop vac will do the job, and this thing won't. And this thing would never be able to even suck dust through a hose that long. It just doesn't have the suction pressure needed. Oh, and the other criticism, of course, we're sucking all the dust into the cabinet, and the router will suck air into the bottom, and with all the dust getting sucked in here, yes, the router is getting dusty air, but this is true for any sort of cabinet where you're sucking the dust out of it. For this one, it's not quite as bad because having such a large cabinet, a lot of dust, instead of whirling around, will just settle to the bottom very quickly, which means the router is not sucking in as much dust as it would if there would be a small enclosure. The fact that the shavings accumulate on the bottom really doesn't matter in terms of what the router sees, because it's quite a ways from the bottom. Oh, and one guy had the impression that because I'm sucking air through the bottom, all the air that's coming in actually has to go through the router. I thought that was a little bit funny, because the router has actually quite a strong blower that blows air up, and there's a lot of space here, so there's dust that comes down through this hole here, and air that comes up this way. But it's not like all the dust that comes in here has to go down through the router.